Damaging wind is the lead story today across the northern Rockies, and roughly 3 million people are sitting inside this threat zone right now. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk, and while that might sound modest, this is a focused wind event with the potential to bring gusts strong enough to snap trees, peel roofing, and knock out power. Today's Doppler score is 2.5 out of 10, a low overall threat, but the wind subscore is a 7, and that is what demands your attention this afternoon. Before this briefing is done, I am going to give you my exact call on which city takes the hardest hit and when the peak gusts arrive. If you want these briefings before every severe weather day, subscribe and tap that bell so you never miss one. My read on this setup is straightforward. A storm system pushing east through the northern Rockies is dragging strong winds down from the upper atmosphere, and the surface terrain is channeling those gusts into a narrow corridor where they will hit the hardest. Here is the upper-level wind map. A fast river of air is making its way down to the surface, with the core of that wind energy aimed directly over the threat area from central Montana through northern Utah. That alignment is what turns a windy day into a damaging wind day, because those upper-level winds have a direct path to the surface through storm downdrafts. Now looking at the surface forecast chart. Multiple areas of low pressure are stacked across the west, and a frontal zone draped through the northern Rockies is the trigger. Storms that fire along this boundary will be efficient at pulling those winds overhead straight down to ground level. The one variable I am watching is whether storm coverage stays scattered or organizes into a continuous line. If it lines up, gusts climb fast. The wind probabilities tell you everything about how serious this gets, and I want to walk you through them. Here is the Day 1 damaging wind probability map. This is the headline. A 15% wind risk covers much of the northern Rockies, and layered on top of that is significant hatching. That hatching is not decoration. It means the Storm Prediction Center sees a real chance of wind gusts exceeding 75 miles per hour inside that zone. Winds at that speed snap utility poles, flip lightweight trailers, and strip siding off homes. If you are anywhere in this corridor, anything not tied down needs to come inside before this afternoon. Secure patio furniture, trash cans, and anything that can become airborne. If you have vehicles, get them in the garage. Now I want to show you exactly which cities fall inside these risk zones, because if your town is on this list, your afternoon plans need to adjust. Salt Lake City sits inside the slight risk. That is the only major metro at the highest threat tier today. You are in the bullseye for damaging gusts this afternoon and into the evening. Billings, Montana, and Amarillo, Texas, are both inside the marginal risk, where isolated severe gusts are still possible, but coverage will be thinner. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, also carries a marginal risk on the eastern side of the country, where a separate pocket of wind energy clips the central Appalachians. On your screen now is the high-resolution model radar forecast, showing you where storms are expected to develop and how they move over the next 18 hours. Storms begin firing across the northern Rockies between 2 and 4 p.m. Mountain Time. They intensify quickly as the upper-level energy moves overhead, and the peak window for the strongest gusts runs from about 4 p.m. through 9 p.m. After dark, the line pushes east and weakens. My call. Salt Lake City sees the worst of this between 5 and 8 p.m. Mountain Time. That is when upper-level energy passes directly overhead and storm downdrafts are most efficient at driving those damaging gusts to the surface. No watches or warnings are active right now, but I expect the Storm Prediction Center to issue a severe thunderstorm watch for the northern Rockies corridor by early to mid-afternoon. When that watch drops, treat it as your signal to finish outdoor preparations and stay close to shelter. Turn on weather alerts on your phone right now and know where your interior room or basement is before the first storm cell fires. Tomorrow brings a new threat zone. The slight risk shifts east into the Central Plains, centered over central Kansas, where both wind and large hail become players. Significant hail hatching shows up on the Day 2 maps, meaning hail 2 inches or larger is possible in that corridor. Day 3 keeps a slight risk alive over east central Kansas and northern Missouri. And looking further out, the extended range from Saturday through Monday holds elevated 15% severe probabilities across the central and southern plains, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes. Those are still uncertain, but the pattern is active enough that I will be tracking it closely all week. Stay tuned for updates. On the back side of this system, the northern tier from Montana through the Dakotas and into Minnesota is looking at a sharp temperature drop behind the cold front. Below normal temperatures are forecast through the extended period, and if you are in that zone, the contrast from this week's warmth is going to feel abrupt. Keep the jackets handy. And if you need a reason to smile today, Sacramento, California is sitting at 84 degrees under pure sunshine. Not a cloud in sight. That is your exhale. Doppler tracking. Doppler out.